Hello Pisces, welcome back to my channel. My name is Aviana, this is Aviana's Ascension, and today we are going to see what Spirit has for you for the month of October. This is a general reading, so just take what resonates for you. If you'd like the most accurate message for this month, check out your other placements, okay? So yesterday I did record your guys' reading, and normally my little mic here will block out background noise, and I had a fan on, and just during the entire 44-minute video you just hear in the background, and I was like, I can't do that, it's so loud. So I had to re-record, so hopefully we'll see how different the message may be and all that. So I'm going to take the having to re-record the video as a part of your message today. So there could have been a situation where maybe things like the details of something didn't work out how you wanted it to, or maybe you feel like I'm hearing "Dust Yourself Off and Try Again" by Aaliyah. Dust yourself off, try again. You know, shout out, rest in peace, lover. But yeah, there could have been a situation where you met some obstacles, but you didn't let that stop you. You dusted yourself off. You kind of took a moment, and then you got back on the horse. So love that. But your meditation, your visual for today is the same as it was yesterday. And I did, take some time. I was like, is this still the message, or is this just because I saw it yesterday? Like, should we try again? See, another try again, try again, try again, try again. Okay. This is not the end of the road for you, Pisces. This is just an opportunity to recalibrate and start again. I like that. Okay. So the visual for you, it's so beautiful. It was, and I'm glad, honestly, I'm glad it's the same one because it is very, very beautiful. So it was you guys in sort of like an observatory or something like that. Like it looked like the Sphere in Las Vegas. Okay. So it was like a big dome, but instead of it being like a screen, it was literally just a glass dome, and you could see out into like outer space. Like it was so beautiful. The cosmos, the shooting stars, the galaxies, like it was sick. Okay. And there was someone there like looking through a telescope, and then you were walking up like with just so much amazement, so much wonder and awe. Like it was so beautiful, and like Spirit showed me your eyes, like you were looking up at the stars, and like you could see the stars in your eyes. Like it was, oh, so beautiful. So you could be feeling more connected to Spirit possibly, or maybe there's some sort of new opportunity or situation coming your way where you're just like, this is amazing. This could also be maybe you guys are going camping, or maybe you enjoy space. Maybe you have a telescope at home. Like, I just feel like your connection to the divine and your purpose is increasing, and you have a lot more faith, a lot more stamina than maybe you had before. Okay, so let's get into the cards. We're going to do a Celtic cross for you today. So I'm just going to get the cards out and ready to rock and roll, and then we'll see what's coming your way for the month of October. You guys are the first people I'm telling this. I don't know why I feel like telling you guys, but because I'm trying again. That's why, because it's a reset. But this is going to be the last month where I think I'm going to do monthly readings and time-based readings, because honestly, at the end of the day, I don't think I resonate with it. I don't. So I'm going to take a break and get my yoga teacher training. I've been working on it for like ever, because I do so many different things that I just put that on the back burner. So I'm going to finish that and then just kind of restructure the whole readings on YouTube situation, because I don't know, I just need to switch it up. Okay, let's get back to you. So bottom of the deck is going to be the overall energy here. So let's see. We do have the Six of Pentacles, Ace of Wands, Judgment, Seven of Pentacles, Two of Wands, the Fool card, the Eight of Cups, Four of Wands, Three of Wands, Death card. Okay. Let's see here. Okay, so you could be sharing new ideas or new passions, new exciting ways of thinking, taking new action, or maybe you're going to someone for a little bit of guidance on how to get the ball rolling on a new passion project that you may be focusing on. And if it's not like a passion project, there's just a lot of excitement, a lot of like willingness and ready to take steps to make something happen for yourself. So you could be helping others with this, or maybe like showing others, like, this is my idea, this is what I want to do. Or maybe you have the idea and you're like, okay, I need an investor, I need a mentor, I need someone to help me with this. Because, yeah, you've made a decision here, Scorpio energy. You've made a decision where you're like, this is where I've been, this is where I want to go. So I feel like there's been a new idea that's popped up for you where you're like, I'm really excited about this. This is what I want for myself. I'm going to shout it from the rooftops and get something working here. Okay, with the Seven of Pentacles, you're definitely being asked to be patient here, right? This is not a situation where you're going to plant the seed and then tomorrow the flower is there. No, this is a situation where you have the idea, you take a few steps, maybe there's an obstacle or something you need to learn, and then you take a few more steps, okay? So trust in divine orchestration, right? You've got that connection with the divine, so just trust in that at this moment, because things are unfolding for you and it's going to be really beautiful, but you could just have to trust in what that process looks like. Okay, we have the Two of Wands, the Fool card, the Eight of Cups, and the Four of Wands. Three of Wands, the Death card. So I definitely see that you're having to walk away from certain things. This could involve certain relationships, maybe certain members of your family, certain connections. There just wasn't fulfillment there for you. And I think you are really ready for a new chapter in your life. So I do think there's certain people, situations that you're having to walk away from. I feel like your reading in September had a lot to say about that too. Okay. And again, we have Scorpio energy with the Death card. So you might have Scorpio in your chart, or maybe you're dealing with a Scorpio. But with the Fool and the Two of Wands, it's just like, I'm hearing You Can Go Your Own Way by Fleetwood Mac. I think that's Fleetwood Mac, right? Yeah, it is. You can go your own way, go your way. I'm cracking myself up. Okay. So yeah, but this is like what I see right now is you guys, it's kind of like in the treasure hunting movies, you like take up things off the desk and you lay out a map and you're just like, okay, this is where we need to go. This is what we need to do. Like, that's what I'm seeing for you. You're charting your own destiny. Ooh, I like that. Okay. And with the Fool card, that's Aries and Aquarius energy. So I really see that you're just being a visionary right now. You're ready for new beginnings. You're making decisions, figuring things out. Like, it feels like you got a plan. You got a plan here, Pisces. So I'm intrigued to see what's going to come through. Okay. So to start us off, your current situation is the Five of Wands. So yeah, there could have been some arguing, some conflicts. There could have been some people maybe trying to compete with you, or maybe you felt like this could almost be a little bit of imposter syndrome. Not entirely, because I feel like people are kind of coming at you, or maybe you feel like you have to defend yourself. The whole thing about this Five of Wands is there's just a lot of cooks in the kitchen and everyone wants to be right. So I feel like you're needing to remove yourself from certain situations because you know what you're making. You know what you're cooking. You've got the recipe. And maybe you don't fully have the recipe, but you know what your end goal. You get what you're trying to create. Okay? So if you know what you're about, you don't necessarily need everyone else's opinions or ideas. Of course, it's good to be open to things like that because you never know what someone else knows. But it feels like people might want a piece of your pie. You know what I mean? And maybe they're trying to tell you how to make it so they can have the most benefit from it. That's very specific. But it came through. So let's see what's going on. There could just be, maybe even just jealousy or something like that. Or maybe just everyone thinks they're right. So everyone has their loud opinion. Let's see. I hope that there's not, clearly there is some sort of drama around you, but I feel like this is the catalyst to kind of push you even more towards the goals and the things that you're wanting to go towards. And I'm noticing these little butterflies. So I do feel like there's a big transformation occurring for you. And I think a big part of that is realizing that you're tired of having to prove yourself, having to stand up for yourself, tired of fighting, tired of conflict, whenever there's enough sun to shine on everyone. All right, tell me more about the Five of Wands for Pisces. All right. We have the Queen of Pentacles and the King of Cups. Very interesting. So the King of Cups is your energy, Pisces. Queen of Pentacles could be dealing with a Capricorn, Taurus, Virgo. So this could be fighting between you and someone else. This could be a mother figure, an older sister, or someone with more feminine energy. Doesn't necessarily have to be a woman, but just someone with feminine energy. This could be conflict within your own financial realm. You know, maybe you're worried about work or money, or maybe your physical health, maybe things with your home, not necessarily like your family, but like within your home, maybe there's some issues there. This could be issues like, I feel like Pentacles could talk about bloodline or like generations, whereas Cups, it's more like your immediate family and the emotional aspect to it. So this could be something to do with the bloodline, things like that. So let's look into it a little bit more. Moral at the end of the day, though, you know, I'll say the King of Cups being there, the fact that you're showing up as a king lets me know that you are staying in control of your emotions. You're not being as reactive as maybe people expect you to be, or maybe that you used to be. But I see that you're staying cool, calm, collected. So whether this is another person or something in your financials or just family as a whole, you're handling it with grace. Okay, we have Temperance, the Page of Swords, the Knight of Pentacles, the Ten of Swords, the Magician. Okay. I definitely feel like you're trying to gain balance with the situation, trying to find harmony, but we're really not sure what steps to take or how to move forward with it. I see you pulling your energy back and just kind of focusing on yourself. So let's look into that Queen of Pentacles. Tell me more about the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, we have the Six of Wands and the Ten of Pentacles. Okay. Yeah. I feel like it really does matter a lot to you to have success, to have abundance, to be able to be reliable, not only for yourself, but for your family, for your children, for future generations. Like, you're trying to build generational wealth here. And I think maybe there's a lot of conflict within yourself about how to do that, right? We have the Four of Wands, the Three of Wands, the Two of Wands. Some of you might have to move or leave your family in order to get where you want to be, or maybe you guys all have to move together, you know what I mean? But, you know, people travel for work, so that could be a situation. But I do see, like, the forefront, the main concern for you in October is just your abundance and your legacy and having that stability and that security. Okay. I like that because, of course, we all want that, right? We all live on Earth. It's a physical place for everybody. But I see that while that is a big concern and big goal for you, you're not being reactive. You're not giving into fear or anxiety, which is amazing. Okay. So I like that. It's hot in here. Let's take this sweater off. Whew. Okay. So the challenge with this situation is the High Priestess, and that is your card, Pisces, okay? So the challenge here is trusting your intuition, okay? Maybe you're struggling with, you know, surrendering to the divine when it comes to things like this. And sometimes we can struggle with that because, you know, it feels like money is not a spiritual thing, but it is, because it's an energetic thing, right? And know that it's not wrong of you. And I literally dealt with this recently where I was like, I want to be successful. I want to have abundance, and I want to, you know, have a lucrative business based on tarot and spiritual healing. And that's not wrong to ask for that. You know what I mean? It's not wrong to ask for something in return to what you're offering, you know? It's not wrong, right? And especially whenever you're thinking spiritually or you're dealing with spirit, it feels wrong to ask for things like that sometimes, but it's not. Okay? So don't. And of course, there's people who get into spiritual work and they're very greedy about it. Like, we've seen that as well, but it's not wrong to ask for things, right? But with the High Priestess, you could also be struggling with maybe just like the shadow self of it all. Like I feel like the high priestess is very good at going within and exploring, those darker parts of yourself and looking beyond the veil. So maybe for you, you're just not sure how to bring that more spiritual aspect to it, or maybe you're having trouble trusting in that divine orchestration, or maybe you're struggling with the shadow self that may struggle with money, whether that part of you clings to it and has a tight grip on it. Maybe that part of you, sometimes people's shadow will get money and then immediately spend it because they don't know how to hold it. There's also the part where you may think you don't deserve to have that abundance and that success. So let's see about it. Tell me more about the high priestess. All right, we have the Page of Swords and the Queen of Swords. Why so many people? I feel like if there are too many people involved in this situation, let's see. Okay, thank you, Spirit. With the Page of Swords, Queen of Swords, yeah, there's a lot of logic going in this, and that's what I just said. Like, that's understandable. I get where that sentiment comes from, but at the end of the day, everything is energy, including money. So while it is important to have that logic and, have that savings account, investing and, making sure you're paying your bills on time, like, of course, that's important. But what are other spiritual aspects you can bring into this? Maybe you could carry certain crystals, do some spells, work with some bay leaf, Don't just have these are the facts, this is the logic to it, and I would say that as well, like, for don't just be spiritual about it. You got to go out there and make your money and do what you got to do. Spirit's not going to pay your bills for you. You got to log in, check, do. So I feel like we're needing a bit more balance with this. Okay, because we have the Ace of Cups, there's the King of Swords again. Yeah, you got to bring together the love, the emotional fulfillment, the spiritual self with the logical self. I like that. Balance. Okay, so what you need to focus on is the Three of Cups. I like this. Okay, this is having fun. This is celebrating. This is going out, spending time with friends, family. And I think Spirit's saying this because a big part of abundance and calling in the things you want is having gratitude, having joy, and that energy attracts more things to have joy, attracts more abundance for you. You can't just focus on the lack or just be all work and no play. You know what I mean? You need to have a balance because that is what will help bring it to you even more. You know what I mean? What you focus on, you create. So if you focus on, okay, I don't have enough here, I don't have enough there, then you will create more lack in your life. Okay, so being around people that make you feel celebrated, that make you feel good, will remind you, like, okay, it's the simple things in life. I have all this abundance of friends, abundance of laughter and joy. So just focusing on the things to be grateful for will create more gratitude in your life. So allow yourself to take breaks every once in a while and spend time with friends and loved ones. All right, tell us more about the Three of Cups. Ooh, I like what I see. Okay, we have the Five of Pentacles and the Star card. Yeah, okay. Yeah. So Spirit does not want you to just focus on your lack or ways you've been abandoned or neglected or just what you're struggling with, right? And I'm not saying just put your head in the sand and pretend like it's not real. But how can you approach this in a way that actually serves you? And with the Star card, Aquarius energy again, it's like you're co-creating all of this experience with the universe. So sometimes in order for you to reach certain successes, you have to have certain failures, right? Because people learn usually a lot more when they fail rather than when they win. Okay? So sometimes you have to fall down so you can get back up. See, again with the Try Again. Some of you guys need to listen to Try Again by Aaliyah. Maybe that should be your theme song for the month of October. But it's like you got to learn how to pick yourself up when you fall down. So sometimes if you haven't learned that, you're not going to reach that goal, that success, because if you get it and you fall down and you don't know how to get back up, that's way worse than falling down 10 steps earlier. You know what I mean? So understand that it's not just about the lack, it's not just about struggles, but also about what things bring you joy now. And understand that sometimes you have lack and you have struggles so you can learn from them, so you can grow, you know? In these moments, I feel like you're learning how to have gratitude, how to see the glass half full. That is a very important, necessary life lesson. So don't feel like you're stuck in an energy because you're being punished or because you're not good enough or whatever. That's not how the universe works. You know, it's a birthright, right? Focus on what you have to be grateful for. Whether that's people, whether that's the sun rising, whether it's nice weather, a good glass of water, you know. Find the abundance in your present day and notice it come to you even more. You create your reality by what you focus on, what you bring attention to. Remember that. All right, let's all take a sip. See, like, I'm grateful for Dutch Bros. Love Dutch Bros. And they're always vibing in there, blasting Akon and whatnot. I love it. I'm like, listen, this is a vibe over here. See, look, we have justice, we have the Ten of Cups. Yeah, you need to put more balance into the home, into family, into emotional fulfillment while you're being patient on this transformation to come through, because it is coming through. So don't doubt that it's happening, because it is happening. Just trust in how it's unfolding and focus on things that make you feel good in the meantime. Okay? All right. In the recent past, we do have the Nine of Pentacles. Okay. So there could have been a situation where maybe you were in a really abundant, secure space, but then maybe something happened, or maybe you're just wanting to increase that more and more, right? Because the present is the Ten of Pentacles. So it's like you're wanting to go up even more, which is fierce, right? So in the recent past, there was a lot of success. There was a lot of, a lot of growth, a lot of security, a lot of stability, feeling really proud of yourself. Also protecting your energy and being specific about who you allow to have access to you. That's very important, right? So maybe we've kind of lost that a bit with the Five of Wands. I'm really not sure, because that kind of feels like it's an internal struggle as well. But I mean, you're not looking bad by any means. I think you're just putting a lot of pressure on yourself because you have a lot of big goals and things that you want to work towards, and you just want to get there. Okay, but let's see about this Nine of Pentacles. See, and I'm noticing there's another butterfly here. So there's definitely a big transformation happening here. Okay. We have the Ace of Swords, the Eight of Pentacles, and the Seven of Wands. Okay. Yeah, I mean, one thing about you, Pisces, like, you are locked in, you are focused. You really are focusing on your growth, on your success. Some of you guys could have been going back to school or just starting your own business or working towards some sort of promotion, just being really, really zoned in on your growth, on your success, which is fierce. Okay. With the Ace of Swords, Seven of Wands, that's very interesting. So it almost feels like you felt like you had to prove your worthiness, prove yourself in order to be worthy of the success and stability that you're trying to call in. At the end of the day, look, you need to be on the Empress energy, the King of Pentacles, the Sun card. Yeah. You need to understand that there's enough sun to shine on everyone. You do not have to prove anything. Okay? I like to tell people, if the thought popped into your head, if you saw yourself in a certain light, in a certain way, you felt that energy, that's proof enough. Okay? So it's not about proving your worthiness, but it's about understanding that you can attract anything to you that you want. You are abundant. You are successful. Stand in that energy rather than feeling like you need to prove that. Okay? Because you don't have to prove it. It's already proven. I think there's been a lot of clarity that's come in recently about just how you're showing up for yourself and how you're allowing this to unfold. It's not about working yourself to the bone, right? Of course, there's hard work involved, but that's not the only aspect to this. And I think there's been a lot of clarity about how you've been showing up. Because look, you don't want to show up like this for your abundance and your blessings. Because what if the universe and all your blessings is on the other side of these wands? Because then you're like blocking it. You know what I mean? So I feel like you're realizing that you have, even though society will tell us like you got to work hard, you got to work yourself to the bone, you'll sleep when you're dead. You know what I mean? Like, even though that's been a lot of the things that we've been told, maybe we've seen our parents and that's how they had to do it, that doesn't have to be your story anymore. And having that approach will put you on a hamster wheel with your goals and your dreams. And if that's the foundation for the goals and dreams, then that's what's going to be expected of you whenever you actually reach the space you want to be in. You know, that's why I'm kind of changing up my YouTube channel, because I'm like, I don't like the feeling I get whenever I have to, like, I see the end of the month is coming. I'm like, oh my God, I need to do 12 zodiac readings before the next month comes. You know what I mean? Like, I don't want that. And I don't want that expectation to be for my foundation. So ask yourself, how do I want people to expect me to show up? And if that's not in alignment with how you actually want to show up, then take a few steps back, recalibrate. Okay. All right. So some potential possibilities. We have the Page of Pentacles. Okay. So this is talking about a new journey, going towards a new horizon. Okay. This is being excited for just future opportunities and possibilities here. This could also be getting a new job, possibly, or some of you maybe having to move or travel for work. But I feel like there's going to be a new level of like excitement when it comes to your financial growth or stability. And maybe that's kind of what's been missing here, right? You have the goal, you have the desire, but you've just been looking at like logic, like how can I make this happen? Instead of being excited about being on the journey in the first place, you know? It's not just about the goal, it's about the journey. So I feel like that shift is going to be happening. Okay, tell me more about the Page of Pentacles. Okay, we have the Ace of Wands, the Two of Pentacles, and the Knight of Cups. Beautiful, yeah. I just see that you are very serious about this new passion project, taking action, excitement, whatever it is that's coming your way. There's like a fire under you now, you know? And I see that when it comes to that situation, you have your priorities in check. You want to approach this in a more balanced way. So you're allowing more love, more excitement, more eagerness to come into this story rather than just having the logic and the end goal and all that. You're allowing your heart, your passion to guide you. And you're realizing that those should be priorities just as much as the end goal is. Because if you don't have that love and that passion, then you get very burnt out on the way there, you know? So staying in touch with that part of the journey and reminding yourself, this is why I love this. This is why I'm doing this. That's so important, you know? And sometimes when you do that, that kind of shifts how you're approaching things, right? That's why I'm doing my YouTube channel differently, because I'm like, you know what? Let's get back to it. Okay, we have the Six of Cups, Three of Swords, the Strength card, the Lovers, the Four of Swords. Interesting. Some of you guys may have to, like, maybe you've gone through some sort of breakup or having to walk away from certain connections in order to explore this. Like, I see you guys definitely having to leave somebody behind or embark on this journey by yourself. So not necessarily doesn't mean, I mean, it's giving breakup, but you know, sometimes it's just time apart because you're having to travel and things like that. Cool. Well, not really cool. That's not comfortable. But I feel like for a lot of you, your success, your passion is your top priority. And even though, everyone loves love, I just don't know if that's as important to you right now, the romantic part of it. But I think you love so much what it is you're going towards that you're okay with putting that on the back burner for now. Sometimes that's what you need to do. All right. Well, let's keep going. Okay, so in the near future, we do have the Ten of Wands. So this can mean a few different things. This could be you being very determined and motivated and focused, like pushing yourself to make sure you get to your end goal and you're not stopping until you get there. This could also be feeling burdened and just heavy and feeling like the weight of the world is on your shoulders. It's probably a bit of both, honestly, because it feels like this goal, it's not just about you, but you're wanting this for your children, for your future generations. So I understand, like, it feels like there's a lot of weight, a lot of pressure on you, you know? But I could see why that level of pressure is making you be like, I'm pushing through and I'm going to get there. Okay, let's just see. Tell me more about the Ten of Wands. We have the Eight of Wands, Two of Swords, the Emperor. Okay, the Emperor with Aries energy. This is interesting. Okay, so definitely see you kind of in your masculine energy in the future. I definitely see you, pushing through, kicking butt, taking names, making things happen for yourself. Okay. This Two of Swords is throwing me off a bit, though. I feel like you're not sure when something is going to come through or when it's going to come full circle. Mind you, no one does, right? Like most people don't know when things are going to come to fruition for them. That's why you got to lean into faith and trust and not try to make it happen through force and control. That's what I feel is happening. Like I feel like you want this thing so bad that the idea of being patient, the idea of enjoying the journey is not appealing to you. So you're like, I'm going to make this journey speed up a bit here. Okay, let me look into it some more. Tell me more about the Eight of Wands, the Two of Swords. Okay, we have the Six of Pentacles. We have the Six of Pentacles and Justice, Libra energy. Listen, I feel like they're saying the truth is you might need some help. There needs to be more balance in this because look, there's two balance scales here, right? Like the truth of the matter is like you're going to need some help with this situation. But for some reason, like you want it to just be on you. See, and I feel like that Queen of Pentacles is someone that's trying to guide you about stability and about your security. But I just feel like you're not listening or you're not seeing it that way. So you're just still moving from force and control. But the thing is, like, if you feel lost, if you are forcing so much, you need help. Okay. And that's okay. You need help because you're watching a tarot reading. You know what I mean? So take a step back. Take a step back here, Pisces, because I do feel like because listen, if you don't allow things to unfold as they're meant to, if you try to force and make something show up faster than it's ready to, than you're ready to receive it, you're going to fumble it. Okay? And I don't want that for you. Spirit doesn't want that for you. So take a step back, take a beat. Okay? And really ask yourself, like, what is it? Why are you chasing this so intensely? You know what I mean? Like, what does it mean for you? Does it mean financial freedom? Does it mean, like not having to worry? Does it mean feeling, joyful and happy? Okay, so if that's the thing that you're looking for, embody that energy now rather than trying to chase it. Because when you chase, like I just said, it puts you on a hamster wheel with your goals, and then you just stay chasing, 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 chasing. And then you're creating a foundation where, in order for you to reach your goals, you have to chase and work and da 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 da. You don't have to do that. I feel like there's somebody around you who will give you advice, who will give you guidance, who will help you, assist you. Ask them for their help. Ask them for their advice, whatever that means. Because it feels like you want this to happen so fast, so quickly, that you're willing to suffer and force. And I just don't think that's the way to do it. I don't. I feel like you will be successful, but you got to get out of that masculine energy. You need to get out of your head. It's time to get into your heart space. It's time to trust your intuition. It's time to allow other people to help you, because I just don't want to see you fumble or self-sabotage something that means so much to you. And that's where I'm going to leave it. Bizarre. Okay. Alrighty. So your advice is the Knight of Wands, Sagittarius, Leo, Aries energy. So the Knight of Wands is all about having fun. Like, seriously. Like, I do a learning the tarot class, and I like to compare the like kings and the queens, like the court cards, to real life people. I compare the Knight of Wands to like Justin Bieber when he was, coming up, and not coming up. He's like been that guy for a long time. But whenever he was like out there wilding for a minute, I know he's still kind of wild right now, but I think he's going through things. And honestly, if any of us had his life being famous that young, I'm sure we'd all be crashing out too. Let's be real. But enough about Justin Bieber and his life. This is the energy of someone who's just here for a good time, someone that is chasing excitement and doing things that they enjoy, lots of traveling, just having a good old time. Okay? Spirit wants you to bring more fun and joy and excitement into this situation. I feel like you had this idea and you're like, ooh, that's such a good idea. That would be so fun. And then you started working on it, and then the fun went away, And like I said earlier, you cannot be all work and no play. That's not, you got to have a balance. You got to have balance, right? You have to allow yourself to rest if you're working a lot, because you will burn out. Something will happen. So you have to allow yourself to have more joy, have more fun as you're doing this. Because if you're doing something and there's no joy, no fun, what's the point? Because then by the time it comes to you, you're like, I don't even want this anymore. All this headache and stress, and my body hurts. Now I can't even enjoy it. That's why, people say, like, travel when you're young. Don't wait till you're retired, because then you can't even fully enjoy it like that. Live your life. Live it up. Tell me more about the Knight of Wands. Yeah, it's like you need to be more selfish. You need to have more fun. What I think this is beautiful. Like I said earlier, I feel like a lot of these goals and what you're working towards is not just for you, but for your entire family, for the generations to come. And that is so beautiful. I get that. But there does need to be an aspect of creativity, of following your heart, of having joy. Don't just sacrifice yourself for future generations, because I don't know, like, I just don't feel like the approach is the way you're called to do it. Okay. And honestly, I just keep thinking about Harriet Tubman. Like, obviously she made a lot of sacrifices for future generations. Shout out Harriet, right? If it wasn't for her and being so brave and, helping slaves escape and the Underground Railroad and all of that, like, if it wasn't for that, who knows where we would be, you know? But I would hope that Harriet, got to have some good coffee or something, Like there had to be some aspects of her life where it wasn't just like, right? And also, we're not in that same time. You know what I mean? Like I do think back in the day there wasn't room for fun, especially when you think about like life or death situations like slavery. You know what I mean? But there were still parts of that where there was celebrations and there was singing and there was, times connecting with community and things like that. So it's like there has to be some sort of balance here. Like just allow yourself to have a vacation or a day off or, go treat yourself in some way, right? Because with the King of Pentacles here, they're letting you know, like, you have a lot of that stability. I understand. Spirit knows like a big focus for you right now is your success, is your legacy, and all of that. And they respect that. But there's also a need to bring more joy and fun to this process. Yeah, like some of you may think that focusing on yourself or doing your own thing is selfish, but that's exactly what you need to help you move forward. But a lot of you are worried that if you don't put in that hard work, you're not going to get where you want to be. But that's just not true. See, look, I knew the tower was going to come through for this. I felt it and that's why I was saying the foundation you're creating for yourself right now, you don't want to maintain that, right? You don't want to have people expect you to sacrifice, to struggle, to not put yourself first in order to gain success. Because if that's the foundation, you're going to draw in situations and people that will expect that of you. And that's not fun. That's not fun. That's not fair. And that's not how it has to be. It can be easy. It can be fulfilling. It can be soft. You just got to change the mindset, change the perspective, let go of the limiting beliefs, the false narratives that you have to work your fingers to the bone in order to deserve abundance for you and your family. That's just not true. You know, you're going to get there, but please allow your heart to guide you, not just the logic of it all or the fear of, am I going to get there or not? You know what I mean? We don't want that. Okay, so what's going on in your environment that's impacting this situation? We have the Six of Swords. So there could have been someone who was in a really rough situation and decided to leave that behind and go towards a new beginning. There could have been someone around you who moved recently who maybe was like a big, like a rock for you, right? This could be somebody who it feels like someone chose themselves in a situation. Like someone just decided, I want this dream, this peace, this life for myself. So I'm leaving everything behind, or I'm making this move and I'm going to make it happen. This could have been somebody that inspired you, or maybe you feel like, okay, I'm alone now, or I don't have this person here now, so I got to figure some things out. Okay, let's see. Tell me more about the Six of Swords. We have the Ten of Cups and the Four of Wands. Okay, so yeah, there's something to do with your family, your marriage possibly, or a long-term commitment. Yeah, it feels like, oh. Maybe somebody like left the family. Like maybe you guys had to go through a divorce or a breakup of some sort. Maybe the rock of the family passed, or maybe they moved. Sometimes, like, I know people's parents like to retire in Florida or something. Like maybe your parents moved away, something like that. Like with the Six of Swords, like it was a decision that was best for them. But now I feel like you feel like kind of lost. Like you're like, well, now where do I go? Because my space of guidance, of trust, of whatever support is gone, And it feels like somebody had to walk away so they could create a new life for themselves. Yeah. And now you're just kind of like, well, what do I do now? Where do I go? So now you're like scrambling to find that stability, to find that support. And that's why it feels so like I'm thinking panic. Like it feels like, oh my God, I have to do this. I have to figure it out, you know? Okay. I get that. I get that. Okay, but everything happens for a reason. How can you trust yourself? How can you trust yourself more? That's what it feels like this is giving you. Yeah, because it feels like if you're always being able to rely on someone else, then how do you rely on yourself? You know? Makes me think of the the analogy I give people about, babies when they're learning to walk. If the baby is like kind of stumbling and then falls and you're just like, "Oh my God, the baby, pick it up," and then never let it learn how to walk, then that baby is going to, have a really hard time in life, right? But if you let the baby fall and pick itself back up and keep going, it'll be okay. It'll figure it out. So it feels like every time you fell down, maybe you went to this person, but now they're not there anymore. Okay? So now you're having to learn how to dust yourself off and try again. It's a difficult lesson, but it's one of the most important lessons, I feel. Because if you can't pick yourself back up after some sort of hardship or obstacle, that is going to really limit you in life. You got to learn how to pick yourself up, how to dust yourself off and get back out there. And even though it's hard to learn that and it's uncomfortable, it's very, very necessary. This is why I tell everybody everything is love. It's because even though it's uncomfortable, if you're learning something, that's love, right? This is a great act of love. So embrace it. Okay. So your hope or your fear, I don't know, is the Eight of Swords. So you're worried that you're going to be stuck, that your anxiety is going to get the best of you, that you're going to be stagnant, that you're not going to be able to dust yourself off and try again. Don't limit yourself like that. Like if you don't believe in yourself, nobody else is going to. And that's just a fact, right? Because again, what you put out is what you get back. So don't put out fear and limitations. I don't know why I'm so sing-songy today, but I just am. But yeah, there's a lot of worry about like, what if I can't make it? What if I'm stuck? What if I can't figure things out? What if a comet blows through this house? You know what I mean? What if, what if, what if? What if it was amazing? What if it was beautiful? What if you learned everything you needed to learn, right? Faith and fear are the same thing, like two sides of the same coin. I don't know if that's how you say that, but you know what I'm trying to say. You can either see the glass half full or half empty. Either way, it's the same glass and same amount of water. It's up to you how you perceive it, how you carry it, and the narrative you give it. Hold yourself accountable for that. Because if you're telling yourself a story that you don't like, tell it differently. Tell me more about the Eight of Swords. See, look, I actually love this. The Page of Wands with the Five of Cups. They're saying the story you tell yourself, it's completely on you. Okay, let me show you. You could either see the story as like, oh my God, look at everything that's fallen over, this chaos, the disappointment, or, that did suck, but there's still two cups upright. It's not totally over yet, right? I may have lost the battle, but I could still win the war. This is the power of perspective. Literally, I love that this card came out because you can either look at this or you can get up off your knees, turn around and see that all is not lost. This card is like build a bridge and get over it. Like that's what Spirit is saying. And I know that seems insensitive, but they're saying this is the power of perspective. Like, and this is what I mean, like, do not give your power away to your fear because it takes just as much work and effort to have fear as it does to have faith. Honestly, having fear is probably more work because you're like panicking yourself and dysregulating your nervous system in the meantime. You know what I mean? So why don't you look at the two cups upright? Do that for yourself. You know what I mean? Like, and I can hear somebody saying it now, like, well, because my whole life has been 3 cups spilt over. Okay, so then the cycle keeps repeating. So we need to learn the lesson. Spirit's being real serious with y'all. Okay, because look, we got the Magician here, the 9 of Cups, the Chariot. They're like, we're not going to let you just say, well, there's nothing I can do about it. Like, that's not true. It's all about how you use these things to your advantage, right? These tools, obviously they're the different suits, right? But the tools can also be like hiccups, obstacles, disappointment, rejection. All of those things you can use to your advantage to create the life that you want if you choose to look at it that way. Or you can look at it as a complete stop and that's it, right? This makes me think of what someone said in one of my tarot classes. They were saying the Matthew McConaughey book, he wrote in his book, every time he hit an obstacle, he saw it as a green light that he was on the right path. Because, hey, let me tell you something. The right path for you is not going to be easy, right? Because we're here on earth to learn, to grow, to evolve, right? It's a school for souls, right? So if you're on the right path, most likely there's going to be obstacles. Most likely you're going to doubt yourself. You're going to question yourself. You're not going to know, is this the right thing? I don't know. That's what we're here for, right? So embrace it, get into it, and trust that it's happening for a reason, okay? We can't just look at difficulties in our lives and be like, see, I should just give up. Like, no. If that were the case, Harriet Tubman would have never done the Underground Railroad. You know what I mean? You got to believe in yourself, and you have to see the purpose in the obstacles. And sometimes the purpose is just to see if you will have faith, if you will keep going. Because if you love it enough, you will. Okay. Final outcome here. I'm happy to see it. The Queen of Wands. So this is beautiful, right? The Queen of Wands is the epitome of shadow work to me as a reader. She usually has a little black cat with her, showing that she's made friends with her shadow. You will find the light. You will figure it out. Okay? And the thing is, I think all of this is so you can get here. And then with this, you'll be able to move on and accomplish all the dreams and goals that you want. This is you being attractive and charming and feeling powerful and believing in yourself. That's what we want for you. And that's what you're going to get to. And at the end of the day, you're going to go through some things that may make you question it, but you're going to get there. You're going to figure it out. All right, tell me more about the Queen of Wands. Okay. All right, we have the 4 of Cups and Judgment here. So yeah, I love it. It's like what you're going to do for yourself. You're going to decide for yourself, you know what? I need to shift my perspective, okay? Because that's what the 4 of Cups is all about. This person is like not seeing something as a blessing or not seeing like the beauty in something, even though it is directly a gift from the divine, from God, okay? So if we allow ourselves to see our obstacles and our pain and our life lessons as gifts from God to help us learn, to help us grow, then we don't carry the pain so much, okay? That's the whole point of all this. Like, yes, there are things that are painful and it takes time to dive into it and dissect it so that way you don't just see it as the pain. But please give yourself the chance to shift the perspective, okay? Our souls agree to go through what certain things, certain connections before we get here. And I always tell people, souls are cocky, But at the end of the day, they're really not, because they know everything is love. The souls fight to get the hardest life, the greatest lessons, because they want to evolve and grow the most, okay? Just give yourself the chance to do that. Now these cards, let's see, 2 of Wands, 3 of Wands, the Queen of Cups. Yeah, it's like I see you deciding, like, is this going to be a lesson or an obstacle? It's up to you. It's up to you to decide. But whichever one you decide, know that's the path you're going to be on. So allow yourself to claim power over the situations that happen to you in your life, and you get to decide how you're going to carry them. Okay. All right, we need to close this reading out. It's so long. All right. We're going to close it out with some oracle messages, and that'll be that for you, Pisces. Thank you for watching. If this resonated, let me know with a like, a comment. Definitely subscribe, share this video with another Pisces or a friend or family member or whatever. All right, so look, we have yes, just say yes. Just say yes, okay. And then Anna, grandmother of Jesus, seeding the light, laying foundations, divine plan. Okay. Spirit wants you to trust. They're like, we've got a plan happening. There's divine orchestration going on here, okay? The soul and I, we're figuring it out. So just say yes. Just allow yourself to move forward. Just allow yourself to believe in yourself, to receive guidance, to receive help. Because know that something bigger and better is unfolding here from this situation. I know it may not feel like it right now, but best believe it is. Like, think about a time in your life where something really painful or really uncomfortable or really annoying or agitating happened to you. But then, maybe some time passed, some years passed, and you're like, if it wasn't for that situation, I wouldn't have made this change and then decided to do this, and now I'm here. You know what I mean? Like, for example, Aviana's ascension, Aviana being into tarot and spiritual things, this all happened because my mom kicked me out at 19, okay? And that put me into such a deep depression and sadness and a bottomless pit of wallowing that eventually I found tarot online, and I was like, oh my God, these messages are resonating so much. Started watching YouTube tarot readings, got my own deck, started offering readings for other people. I do readings for my mom now, and I tell her, I'm so glad you did that, because even though it broke me, I needed to be broken in order to put myself back together to become the person I was meant to be, to find my purpose. It is usually through pain that we find our purpose, but you have to be willing to do that. It's not easy. I know it's not easy. I know it's hard. But if it were easy, everyone would do it. And you're being called to do it. So just do it. Okay. All right. We got to leave it there. Thank you guys for watching. Sorry the reading's so long, but we had to talk about it. Okay. If you guys would like more from me, I have all of my social media down below in the description box. I also have my website. You can join my newsletter. I honestly suggest doing that because once I come back from my break, I'll probably be starting off with the newsletter and just getting you guys information, new content from there. Yeah. If you would like a personal reading or a healing ceremony, I'll still be doing one-on-one things. You can go to my website for that. And the soul alchemy ceremony, that's where honestly, you guys might benefit from this. That's where we take your pain and turn it into power, right? Because I just said I learned how to do that with my own self. So I offer that as a service for you guys. So check it out if you'd like. But thank you so much, Pisces. I will see you next time, and dust yourself off and try again, okay?